ग्रीन लिविंग और ग्रीन बिल्डिंग्स की तकनीक इंडिया में काफ़ी नई है, लेकिन ऐसे कई डेवलपर्स हैं जो इस पे काफ़ी ज़ोरों शोरों से काम कर रहे हैं। ऐसे एक डेवलपर से आज हम आपको रूबरू कराएंगे जो ग्रीन लिविंग को पर्सोनिफाई कर रहे हैं। जी, आज हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं अनीता अर्जुनदास, जो हैं एमडी और सीईओ महिंद्रा लाइफ स्पेसेस। प्लीज़ टू हैव यू ऑन द शो मैम।
थैंक यू
मैम, सबसे पहले आपसे जानना चाहेंगे, जैसे इंट्रोडक्शन में भी मैंने कहा कि ग्रीन लिविंग जो एक तकनीक है काफ़ी नई है, इंडिया में जो है इसको पेनिट्रेट करने में शायद अभी काफ़ी समय लगेगा। आप जो इसको पर्सोनिफाई कर रहे हैं, यू आर वर्किंग ऑन सो मेनी प्रोजेक्ट्स विच आर ग्रीन एंड एक्चुअली यू आर ओनली डूइंग ग्रीन प्रोजेक्ट्स। तो have you made like a decision that no, we will only work on green projects?
Yes, that's right, Saloni. I think as a company we have taken a call that all our projects will only be green, and I think this goes back to the philosophy of the Mahindra Group itself in terms of the philosophy of RISE, which is about driving positive change in everything that we do when we impact the lives of our customers and stakeholders. It's very important that we look at the environment very carefully and not impact it while we are doing our own development. So the whole philosophy is built on how can we minimize the impact on the environment while doing sustainable development. Therefore, we have mandated that all our projects would be green, and that we will ensure that all our projects are certified by IGBC, which is the leading authority in India on green buildings. And it's not just about pre-certification, but it's also about ensuring that the development complies with green, so that even when we are finally certified, we remain as per the rating that we started out with at the pre-certification stage.
Okay. A lot of has been said, about green living. It saves power, water, and the technique that you used while developing a green building. If you can just elucidate some of those, कितना power save कर सकते हैं, water को कैसे, you make sewage treatment plants and stuff like that. So if you could just take us through that.
The principles of green start with the building design itself. It's very important that even at the design stage, you look at how you're planning your building envelope, so that your wall to window ratio is well maintained. You look at ventilation in terms of direction that wind flows in, that light flows in, and plan placements of your entire building and your windows on that basis, which means even at the design stage, you're consciously looking at being able to bring in features that will reduce your need for energy, that will reduce your need for lighting, artificial lighting, that will bring in natural ventilation so that you keep the environment cool. So that's the first stage, design. The second stage is the kind of materials that you use. So all our buildings have a high concentration of fly ash bricks and low energy glass being used in them. What both of these do is reduce the energy consumption into the building layer, and therefore less amount of heat comes into the house, which again enables better cooling, lower cooling needs in terms of energy. It also ensures better ventilation comes into the house because of the window to wall ratio. So again, you need less of artificial light. So that is as far as building materials go and as far as building design go. The next stage is the other kind of materials that you use, whether it's the low volatile organic compound paints, or whether it is the kind of water fixtures and features that we have, so that we reduce the consumption of water. Typically, we've found that you save anywhere between 25 to 30%, both in terms of water and in terms of power consumption, if you plan a building well and make it really green.
Okay. पर कहीं ना कहीं जो बायर है उसके दिमाग में ये सेंटिमेंट है कि जो ग्रीन होम्स होते हैं वो नॉर्मल होम से ज़्यादा महंगे होते हैं, तो वुड यू ट्राई टू ब्रेक दैट सेंटिमेंट?
Well, I think the awareness of the benefits of green homes itself is still a little low in India at this point in time. People are not realizing the fact that the green home actually gives them a healthier living environment for themselves and their children, besides contributing to the overall community in terms of conserving the environment. It doesn't necessarily mean that green homes are costlier. Yes, it is costlier to construct. We incur anywhere between 2 to 3% more on construction costs for green homes, but at this point in time we are not passing on that additional construction cost to customers in terms of pricing.
Okay.
That's a call that we've taken, and we are bearing that incremental cost within the company itself and not really passing it on to a customer.
Okay.
So what therefore happens is our customers not only get the benefit of a green home, but also over a period of time get lower operating costs in terms of water consumption, in terms of energy consumption, in terms of access to grey water for landscaping, without actually having to pay for it upfront.
Okay, महिंद्रा लाइफ स्पेसेस का एक पैन इंडिया प्रेजेंस है. यू आर नॉट अ लोकल सेंट्रिक डेवलपर. काफ़ी सारे शहरों में आप काम कर रहे हैं, बड़े बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स अंडरटेक कर रहे हैं. अगर आपसे ये पूछा जाए कि ऐसे कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स बताइए जो काफ़ी एक लैंडमार्क साबित हो रहे हैं महिंद्रा लाइफ स्पेसेस को पर्सोनिफाई करने में, तो कौन से प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे?
Well, I would focus on our ongoing projects. There have obviously been some landmark projects in the past, like the Belvedere Court in Mumbai or the Woods in Wakad or Sylvan County in Chennai. But in terms of our current projects, one key landmark project would be Splendor, which is in Bhandup in Mumbai. And I think that's special because it was the first platinum green certified home in India. So it actually was the first green home in the country. And it was also our first commitment to going green about 3 years back, something that we've now decided to stay with in all our projects. So Splendor incorporates all of these features that we spoke about. It has a high amount of consumption of fly ash, which therefore reduces the impact on the environment. We actually developed a special fly ash brick with high thermal conductivity powers, which we now applied for a patent, and that was done in the Splendor project. So I think that project is also special because we actually being scrutinized for a patent application for the brick that we've developed in Splendor.
Right. So how different is Mahindra World City then?
The World Cities are obviously larger offerings than what we do in residential development. A residential development is typically anywhere between 5 to 20 acres of land in which we do construction of anywhere between, say, 2 lakh square feet to 1 million square feet. So it's essentially a gated community where a few hundred families can live together. They have access to a clubhouse, they have access to a jogging track. A gated community for the residential world, but pan-India in basis. The world cities, on the contrary, are very large format developments. They're typically about 1,500 to 3,000 acres in size. So it's almost the process of creating a small city by yourself.
Right.
We start with land acquisition, we build all of the infrastructure, we then ensure that the power is made available, water is made available, the sewage treatment plants of very large sizes, which caters to the needs of the whole community. So you're really talking about meeting the needs of about 1 lakh people, as against say the needs of about 500 people.
Okay.
So that would be the contrast.
Sure, absolutely. मैम इसी पे रुकते हैं, आगे आपसे बात करेंगे. ब्रेक के बाद जारी रहेगा महिंद्रा लाइफ स्पेसेस से बात. ब्रेक के बाद जानेंगे कि कंपनी के फ्यूचर प्लान्स क्या हैं और क्या वो कोई फंड रेजिंग प्लान करना चाहते हैं. बने रहिए हमारे साथ. ब्रेक के बाद आपका द अपॉइंटमेंट में स्वागत है. हमारे साथ बनी हुई हैं अनीता अर्जुन दास, महिंद्रा लाइफ स्पेसेस की एमडी और सीईओ. मैम, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे कंपनी के फंड रेजिंग प्लान्स के बारे में. आगे चलकर क्या आप कोई इनिशिएटिव ऐसा ले रहे हैं वेयर यू प्लान टू रेज एनी फंड्स?
As of now, no, Saloni, we don't have specific plans for fundraising. We are a zero debt company at a standalone level. We've just tied up about 400 crores of construction finance for our ongoing projects. So we have access to that 400 crores. Given that availability plus the fact that we already have about 200 crores of cash, there is no immediate plan, at least in this year, to go in for any fundraising. But obviously we will keep adding more projects. We will keep adding more land parcels. So we will review requirements of fund sometime towards the end of the year and then take a call on what we should do next.
Okay. If we see across Pan India, a lot of developers are, in this local play where they are doing either a lot in Delhi or Mumbai or Gujarat or say down south. I just wanted to ask about you, any new projects that you're looking, especially in Mumbai right now?
As far as Mumbai is concerned, we have one new project that will get launched sometime this year. We're just waiting for the approvals to come in and then we'll launch it. That's in Ghatkopar.
Okay.
And besides that, we're launching projects in other parts of the country. So we have a new project coming up in Nagpur inside the Mihan development. We have a new project coming up in Hyderabad in Kukatpalli, very near High Tech City. So these would be 2 new cities that we are going into besides the existing cities that we are in Mumbai, in Pune, NCR and Chennai.
Okay. If you see across the portfolio that you have, definitely you have participated in land auctions, but you have never been in that cat race where you want to go till the end, because I think you decided, okay, fine, this is not profitable for me any longer, so you pull back. So is that a conscious decision that you have taken that नहीं हम land banks के लिए land auctions में ज़रूर जाएंगे, लेकिन अगर एक बड़ा फाइट हो जाता है, so we will pull back. Is that what you have decided?
Well, I think the important thing is that we look at land as inventory and not as land bank. And the minute you look at land as inventory, it has to be turned around. It has to come in at a certain cost. It has to be sold at a certain price, and it has to be turned around in a certain period. You're not looking at the potential appreciation value that inherently resides in land and saying that it's okay. I mean, I can keep the land 4 years later. Maybe what I've paid today still makes sense 4 years later because land will appreciate by itself.
Right.
What happens when you look at land in that fashion is then you're willing to pay any price to get the land in your books because you're depending on future appreciation.
Right.
You're willing to get debt of any order into your books because you think appreciation will cover interest costs. And it kind of becomes a never-ending cycle of constantly raising the price at which you're willing to take land. So we're very particular that we have a financial matrix on the basis of which we bid for a project. We're willing to stretch that obviously in terms of accepting that prices will go up and construction costs can be looked at in terms of efficiency. But beyond a point, if we find that it's going into numbers which are not justifiable in the medium term, then we rather pull out than get into that rat race of overbidding.
Okay, what about redevelopment? Is that an option that you are looking at? Because a lot of the developers who are, in the luxury segment are also looking at redevelopment because, that recycles land. So are you really, like targeting redevelopment as the next thing for you?
I think in a city like Mumbai, you don't have an option but to not, you definitely have to look at redevelopment. We have a couple of redevelopment proposals that are currently under discussion. But the framework of redevelopment finalization is fairly slow and fairly long. I think you're dealing with a large number of homeowners. Each one has his or her own requirement. And then there is that arduous process of discussions and negotiations that goes on before you're actually able to convert it into reality. We have 2 significant redevelopment projects that are currently under discussion. Very difficult to say what will actually happen on them finally.
Okay, but can you just tell us which locations are they exactly?
Both are in Mumbai. Both are in the suburbs of Mumbai, not Island City, but in the suburbs of Mumbai.
Okay.
It would be premature to actually discuss specific locations and societies.
Okay.
But they're not small societies. Both are at least about a few hundred families that currently reside in these societies.
Okay, so it would be like 1 million square feet that big?
Not 1 million square feet, say about half, anywhere between 500,000 to 1 million square feet kind of development.
So if you look at the pricing right now, काफ़ी कुछ लिखा गया है, बोला गया है इसके बारे में कि एक पीक पहुंच गया है जिसको क्रॉस करना काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट है. डेवलपर्स मेंटेन कर रहे हैं कि स्टेबलाइज हुआ है, सेल्स हो रहे हैं, बट रजिस्ट्रेशन फिगर्स को भी देखा जाए तो डिप्रिशिएट हो रहा है. प्राइसिंग पे आपका क्या आउटलुक है? क्या आप करेक्शन देख रहे हैं?
I think it's been very project specific. Bombay has been talking about corrections for the last 3 to 6 months. Sales definitely dropped around the last half of last year. October, November, December were slower months. From our point of view, we saw November and December to be slow, but things again picked up in January. So the last quarter was good in terms of sales. But I think what's happening is very, very project specific. Okay. So you have certain projects, depending on the stage of construction they are on, depending on the location they're in, depending on how much they increase prices, how rapidly they increase prices. People are across the table offering discounts. I don't think anybody is going out there and publicly saying they've reduced prices. But I've definitely heard of instances where developers have offered discounts across the table.
So if we look at micro market locations, we can definitely see a bit of correction.
I think most markets it's been fairly stable. If you look at the western suburbs, prices have been holding. Thane prices have gone up extremely high. Central suburbs, maybe parts of it have seen a bit of correction. But I think the market that has seen the largest correction probably is the Island City, South Mumbai, because of the kind of pricing that anyway prevails here, since most of the houses have been anywhere between, say, 25,000 to 75,000 rupees per square foot. There's been some corrections that have been evident in these markets, whether it's the Parel area or whether it's the Hardsco, Island City, South Mumbai area. There have been corrections on prices.
Okay, मैम इसी थॉट पे एक ब्रेक लेते हैं. बने रहिए हमारे साथ. ब्रेक के बाद जानेंगे कि अनीता के पर्सनल हैबिट्स कैसे हैं. ब्रेक के बाद आपका द अपॉइंटमेंट में स्वागत है। हमारे साथ बनी हुई हैं अनीता अर्जुन दास। मैम, पर्सनल स्पेस के बारे में जानना चाहेंगे। बाय द लुक्स ऑफ इट यू लुक लाइक अ वेरी इंट्रोवर्ट पर्सन। आप बताइए, आप कैसे इंसान हैं पर्सनल स्पेस में?
Well, that's a difficult question. I think it's easier to talk about business than personal. But yeah, I think essentially, yes, I am an introvert by nature. Have a small circle of friends. I tend to be more with them. Not a very social animal in terms of being constantly out or traveling a lot in terms of meeting a lot of people. But I do enjoy travel. I'm very interested in wildlife. So I do try to take the time every year, at least for 15 days, get out and travel to some parts of the world, mostly nature-related travel.
Okay.
So that's where I get my break and my rejuvenation. And
so your hobbies would be traveling then?
Yeah, large part of it is essentially traveling. Reading is the other, but the core is traveling.
Okay. No, not into music, dance?
No, not majorly, no.
ओके मैम, इसके अलावा जानना चाहेंगे कंपनी स्पेसिफिक इनोवेशन पार्क का जो एक मैंडेट मिला है एमएमआरडीए से आपको बनाने के लिए, व्हाट सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट विल दैट बी और उसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना लगेगा?
It's still early days to talk about investment, but essentially the idea is to create a Mahindra World City kind of format, which is an integrated business city. So you have places for people to work in, places for people to live in, people where children can go and study. So it's an integrated business city.
Okay.
But the focus of Innovation Park is essentially the business space, or what is called the research and development space. So the idea is to create a global hub for innovation, where research institutions from across the world can come and establish their R&D campuses, and then collaborate with research programs of the best universities and the best research programs in the world. So you're kind of creating a scientific environment where people, in terms of scientists, researchers of organizations, can interact with academicians and actually do innovation and creativity in terms of new products and services development.
Okay, but this will be outside Mumbai limits?
Yeah, this will be outside Mumbai.
Has the land been...
The location has been identified, and we've started acquiring the land.
Okay.
It's still early days, but in terms of land acquisition, it's just commenced. So it will take us some time to put the land together. And in the meantime, we're also working on the whole concept of the Innovation Park, along with our research partners. There are companies like Monitor, and then there is Sophia Antipolis, based out of France, which is a leading research park, and the government of Maharashtra has signed up with them to be able to advise Innovation Park in terms of its approach to getting an R&D companies to locate there.
What was heard is that this would be Navi Mumbai. Is that the location?
I don't want to get into specifics of location. I think if you're looking at land parcels of upwards of 2,000-3,000 acres, then obviously it cannot be very close to the city. It would be definitely an hour's drive plus outside of the city.
Okay. Apart from that, you know, you are in mid segment, you are in luxury segment. There were reports that you were also planning to get into affordable. Have you identified, or is that, you know, at a very nascent stage right now?
Yeah, I think you've got the right word. It's very nascent. It's very exploratory.
Okay.
We're definitely interested in the space. We've been studying it for a while, but it would be too premature to really talk about specific plans, because I personally believe that success in that space would depend on being able to look at it as with a manufacturing mindset and not a development mindset. So it is again about inventory churn. It is about being able to produce in large numbers, large quantities. It's being able to deal with tens and thousands of customers. So I think it's very important to get the whole business model right. And you need a completely different mindset from the developer mindset.
Yeah, from volumes to, you know, that would be the different mindset that you have to work.
But I think we have the advantages of a strong manufacturing culture in the group.
Absolutely.
So what we're really trying to see is whether we can understand the space better and then take a decision on.
Okay, so that means that you're still in the research mode right now. You haven't started identifying any land.
We haven't started identifying. We haven't even decided which segment we'll operate in.
Okay.
So it's still very, very exploratory.
Yeah, because this is also kind of, you know, either low cost or affordable, because low cost would be very difficult for builders to carry out. It's only if the government intervenes and helps you people out, then that would be the way out. Okay, apart from that, I just wanted to get a whole picture of the land bank that you have right now, the inventory, according to you, that you have. What sort of inventory that you have right now?
At this point in time, we have about 3 million square feet of construction going on physically across the country. In addition, we have another 6 million square feet that would get launched between now and say the next 12 to 18 months. So that's immediate. I would look at it as this 3 plus this 6 is the focus for the next 3 years. Thereafter, we have about another 10 million square feet available with us, and we will keep adding more. The focus being to get in stock for the next 3 years of our requirements based on the kind of growth that we've been having currently.
Okay, so what is the future that you have chalked out from Mahindra Lifespaces?
We have large aspirations. We definitely would like to be pan-India even more strongly. I mean, we are present in 4 markets today, going to 6 or 7. But the idea is to have depth in each of these markets that we are in. We're looking at growing significantly. We've been averaging a 60% CAGR growth in the last 2 years. So definitely would like to maintain that momentum. And would like to look at new segments and new streams, both in the world cities and in housing.
Okay. शुक्रिया मैम हमसे बात करने के लिए.
Thank you.
तो ये थी महिंद्रा लाइफ स्पेसेस की MD एंड CEO अनीता अर्जुनदास. कंपनी के फ्यूचर प्लान्स काफ़ी बड़े हैं, काफ़ी अग्रेसिव तरीके से रियल एस्टेट पे एक बड़े पैमाने पर उतर रही है. उम्मीद करते हैं कि उनको सिर्फ सक्सेस हासिल हो. आप बने रहिए हमारे साथ और देखते रहिए जी बिजनेस, आपका फ़ायदा.